The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Ski Sundown in nearby New Hartford, Connecticut. Open 7 days and nights a week with a variety of terrain for skiers and snowboarders of all abilities. Hours at skisundown.com. Winter made better. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. Admissions now open for graduate programs in 2025. Learn how to become a changemaker at umass.edu/SPP.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, a band that's been making alt-country music since before it was a genre.
Indeed.
In the 4 counties and beyond, they're having a birthday party at the Iron Horse on Sunday to celebrate it. The Lonesome Brothers join us for Live Music Friday.
Boop, boop. And 2 wines will enter provisions in Northampton, but only one will win. It's France versus Spain in the Wine Thunderdome.
But first, it's almost Lent.
Which means it's almost Mardi Gras.
And lucky you can join festivities right here in Springfield. It's the light at the end of the tunnel of winter. Blues to Green invites you to Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras Jazz Night, a festive fundraiser featuring world-class performers, Creole and Cajun cuisine, and the joyful spirit of Mardi Gras. It'll be held at 52 Sumner Ave in Springfield. This event brings together music, culture, and community to support Blues to Green's mission of fostering connection through the arts.
And here to tell us all about the event from Blues to Green is Kirsten Neville.
Hello.
Tell us, for those who don't remember, what the mission of Blues to Green is and where it got its start.
Blues to Green uses music and other arts to bring people together and celebrate music and cultures of the African diaspora and raise awareness of social and environmental issues and support actions for change.
Co-founded with your late husband, the legendary Charles Neville of the Neville Brothers, who I was very lucky to know while he was still blowing his horn.
Yes, he was a main inspiration for the organization, being part of this prominent musical family from New Orleans, and particularly witnessing the devastation of Hurricane Katrina on the city. That compelled me to want to do something more and create an organization based around music and leveraging the relationships within the family in the music industry, and just, having witnessed the power of their music, being ambassadors for this city of New Orleans and sharing that music with so many people around the world, and how it helped to connect people to one another and foster sort of a sense of family connection, that we're all part of one family. And often at the end of their shows, Cyril, Charles's brother, after they would sing Amazing Grace and One Love, and he'd say, Aaron Neville, Art Neville, Charles Neville, me Neville, y'all Neville.
And Springfield is Neville now, too. I mean, I love walking down Main Street and seeing the mosaic of Charles Neville on the side of a building. So
right.
He's emblazoned into the heart of the city of Homes here.
Talk about bringing Mardi Gras as... People know Mardi Gras as a NOLA thing, like it is very much a their thing. But talk about bringing it up north. I know of 2 bigger events that you do. One is the Springfield Jazz Festival, and the other is this. And so why is this such an important thing to do to bring community together and to help you provide funds for the programming that you do?
Well, it's bringing attention to that connection to New Orleans, to Charles, to that rich musical heritage, which we try to spotlight and celebrate through the Jazz and Roots Festival each year by featuring many jazz artists and music that reflects the roots of jazz and popular American music, and just, remembering and honoring those roots. We are all connected. Music is a way to connect us and reaffirm that connection and bring positivity to the city. And we try to manifest that in various ways by engaging people in the arts and lifting up other community organizations and supporting local businesses and drawing people from outside the city to experience its cultural richness. And this event our Mardi Gras fundraiser is taking place sort of midway between last year's festival and this coming year's festival, and is bringing light and joy and revelry in the midst of our cold winter here in New England, and through harsh, cold, dark times that it's a bit of light, and it keeps us going. And when Charles was still performing with the Neville Brothers after we had moved up here, we would usually go back for Mardi Gras because the brothers would be very busy at that time of year.
I'm sure.
And
they are the first family of funk.
Yes.
It's true.
So it was always fun and a relief to leave cold New England and go there and just experience the vibrancy and the color and joy of Mardi Gras.
Well, now we're going to bring warm NOLA up to Springfield.
Now that they already got a taste of snow, those are my favorite videos.
I
from
know,
the winter.
very weird.
Everyone
I
in
know.
New Orleans just like,
What is this?
what is even happening when they got
Has
snow?
Cafe Du Monde exploded with powdered sugar?
We're in the French Quarter right now, and it is absolutely beautiful. Ha! There's snow on the palm tree.
It's just beautiful. Go check them out on your own.
Yeah,
folks.
and we're speaking with Kristen Neville from the organization Blues to Green, who is inviting you to a Fat Tuesday Jazz Night, Saturday, February 22nd at 52 Sumner, in honor of Fat Tuesday, but on a Saturday. Tell us a little bit, Kristen Neville, about the performers who will be there on Saturday night.
Okay, so starting at 6 p.m. will be Badia Farah. She's a Grammy and Emmy-winning vocalist who is currently performing in the Broadway musical Hell's Kitchen, written by Alicia Keys.
So cool.
So she's a powerhouse singer doing a tribute to female jazz icons, and the set is called From Ella to Amy, Ella Fitzgerald to Amy Winehouse. And then at 8:15, local favorite Samira Evans and her Handsome Devils will be performing. Samira, having lived in New Orleans for many years, is steeped in that musical tradition.
I've been dreaming about New Orleans, all the Mardi Gras kings and queens. Don't need Satchel to tell me what it means, 'cause I know I've been too long away.
So she'll be bringing her, New Orleans-inspired jazz and Mardi Gras music to really have a festive party.
She's a Katrina refugee who
That's what I
came
was gonna
just
say.
in time to Hurricane Irene here. And there's also going to be some food from a legendary name in Springfield as well.
Yes, Chef Wayne of the former Big Mamu here in Springfield is preparing some delectables, some Creole and Cajun cuisine. We'll have great music and great food and just great vibes all around.
Chef Wayne allegedly getting something up and running again sometime soon.
Yeah,
from what I hear.
Rumors about brick and mortars coming to
Excited.
the fore.
I loved Chef Wayne Cajun on the go. I would make the trek when I didn't work in Springfield to come down here just for that.
And then it just became more convenient when we were already here. So this is a fundraiser, in addition to being like an awesome evening of music and community. Where does the funds that you're raising go towards?
Generally towards Blues to Greens programming, and that involves the annual Jazz and Roots Festival, which is a free event. So it's helping to support this cultural programming and making sure it's accessible to all. It's also supporting our educational program. So we bring artists, most of whom have performed at the festival, and we bring them into public schools in Springfield and Holyoke to deepen the connection with the community and work with and inspire, the next generation, and sharing their stories and histories and cultural heritage, and delving into the study of American and world history and music and culture, and connecting with many youth who have similar histories, as these schools are majority Black and Latinx. And then we have just kind of recently started another program called Arts for Racial and Climate Justice. We are actually working on a film project, so branching out from music, but in the arts and in the realm of storytelling and trying to capture the stories of the Puerto Rican community here in Western Mass and their experiences with climate justice.
I feel like film is more of a yes and, because when you see films with no music, it is either incredibly harrowing or just the worst. So film always ends up with music. So it's just adding extra layers onto the art that you're bringing to the community.
Right.
We're speaking with Kristen Neville from Blues to Green about their Blues to Green fundraiser. That'll be happening February 22nd, Saturday. Fat Tuesday Jazz Night, a celebration of Mardi Gras, music, culture, and connection. What's the thing that you miss most about Mardi Gras in New Orleans that is hard to recreate while celebrating Mardi Gras in Springfield at 52 Sumner?
It's just the magnitude of the celebration, that it's everywhere. You can't live your day-to-day life without being impacted by it, because there's so many parades that happen in the 2 to 3 weeks leading up to Mardi Gras. So you have to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And it's just all-consuming, and it's amazing because everybody is part of it or touched by it. So it's a citywide experience.
Yeah. I'd hate to have a second line parade now because you can't feel your face when you go outside. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Springfield is a very windy city too, so forget about it. We'll wait until the Jazz and Roots Festival happens in warmer climes from Blues to Green later in the year.
Right.
It's also interesting to look at Mardi Gras because if you think about it, it's the only carnival celebration in the U.S. that's got a long legacy and wasn't brought in by immigrants in the same way. So if you put it in that context, it's just the largesse that you're looking for is inherent to the thing. And that's a hard thing to get in the winter above the Mason-Dixon line.
Sure.
You need just a little bit of warmth to get people out in the streets.
Yeah. Well, it should be a warm time inside at 52 Sumner this Saturday, February 22nd. As Blues to Green invites you to their Fat Tuesday Jazz Night featuring dinner from Chef Wayne, performances by Emmy winner and Broadway star Badia Farha, as well as our local hero transplant from New Orleans, Samira Evans and her Handsome Devils. From Blues to Green, Kristen Neville, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dans le bon temps roulé.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
Oui, oui.
There's still a handful of tickets left for Blues to Green's Mardi Gras event. Find them by searching for Fat Tuesday Jazz Night on Eventbrite.
But remember, it's on Saturday, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
40 years of Valley music history and more coming up for Live Music Friday with the Lonesome Brothers.
After we traverse the romantic language divide through grapes with a Thunderdome at Provisions.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping customers make the switch to solar for savings, energy security, and tax incentives. Learn more at northeast-solar.com.
Well, the Wine Thunderdome has returned to Provisions in Northampton, and we are in the subterranean part of Provisions where the general public doesn't usually get to go underneath the beautiful wine store. And lo and behold,
do they want to go here?
Yeah, they do, dude. There's two half stacks here and a drum kit and also a Galaga game. What is this turning into, like a man cave or something, Benson Hyde?
2 guitars and no bass? What are they, Slater-Kinney?
Oh yeah, where's the bass amp?
That's a good question.
There's a couple wine fridges. Maybe they double as a bass amp.
No.
And we're here with Benson Hyde and Bruce McCamus from Provisions. What's the deal with this band down here? Like, who's jamming out in the basement of Provisions?
This is Charlie and Madeline. They have their own basement rock band.
This is very cool.
In fact, here comes Charlie.
Is this Charlie right now? Yeah. They like the white stripes of the valley? We were just checking out your band gear for the radio, so... What's the name of your band, Charlie?
We don't have a band. Not yet.
Oh.
That's the most anticlimactic.
We'll make up a name.
I'm tempted to give you my wine-related band name for a future band that I will likely never start.
Noble Rot?
Noble Rot. Come on, that's a good.
That would be perfect for
That's
you
a
too, Charlie.
that's a good band name.
I like the Latin name better, Betritus Cinerea for like a death metal band.
That could be the album. Nobody will be able.
exactly.
Nobody will be able to look you
that's
up.
the
I have a
album.
whole like collection of like wine-related death metal band names.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Do any other ones you know off the top of your head?
There's a mite that gets on vines called Gall Maker.
Yes. Dude, you have like a series of albums already queued up for this.
Charlie, did you want to jump in and taste?
Yeah.
Then we won't have ties.
Then we'll jam out afterwards.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
I can play drums.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't say well. All right. So what are we drinking here today, Bruce?
We got a Bobal from Finca El Molar, Spain, Spanish red wine, and a Beaujolais Village from Mary Taylor, French wine.
Yeah, so it's Beaujolais versus Bobal.
Beaujolais we've talked about many times on the show, but is the Gamay grape. It's a region of France. Beaujolais Nouveau is a crazy fad that can be very, very terrible or now kind of cool and awesome.
Yeah.
But what's Bobal?
Bobal is a Spanish grape, probably one of the more obscure grapes, but it makes a very wonderful wine. So we have two female producers. We're sort of gearing up for March and for Mary Taylor to come visit us.
Whoa.
We have Mary Taylor Fest. You guys should come.
Yeah.
It's on the 8th, which is International Women's Day.
March 8th.
Not only are we featuring a bunch of women winemakers, but Mary Taylor, who is a very important sort of negociant, and we're celebrating her label and her wines on that day. So
Wicked cool.
That is wicked cool. We've talked about Mary Taylor, I think, with you on the show before too. But negociants, I like to liken them, going back to the rock thing, are like heads of record labels.
yeah,
They're
that's
so
great.
like they're less murderous than Phil Spector.
Hello, this is Phil Spector. It is so difficult at this time.
But if you trust a record label, if you love Motown Records, you're gonna go and listen to all the stuff that they put out because you like what that style is. And so
Exactly.
Mary Taylor is like the head of the record label of Mary Taylor.
Yep, and her whole thing, her whole shtick is to work with smaller producers that have sustainability as one of their core values and to produce wines that really taste like where they come from. So, you know, the place is very important to her. It's always the biggest thing on her label is the place that it comes from because she wants it to taste like where it comes from.
I love it. And so Beaujolais Village, it's a real wine.
It's a real wine.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to visit this property with Mary last March, maybe. And just speaking to sustainability, we're walking down the road and Marine Descombes is the woman who makes this wine. And her property on the left side of the road is filled with butterflies and birds, and it's lush and green. And then on the other side of the road is just this desert. There's nothing moving. It looks completely dead other than these vines that have been sprayed. And it's just insane, the difference. And
So you're seeing the farming practices in real life, one side of the road to the other.
Exactly. And you can sort of, when you're looking at it, you're like, you can decide which side you want to drink the wine from.
Yeah. Now we know why the chicken crossed the road, to avoid Monsanto.
And get food. I mean, like, there's clearly more food on one side than the other.
Yeah, right.
But in case of confusion, the Beaujolais is the lighter shade, if we got the glasses mixed up.
No, I don't think I did. And this definitely tastes like Beaujolais, which oftentimes is strawberry. And this
Raspberries.
more of a raspberry for this
Yeah.
time with me, but also a little bit more tobacco and things that you would get from a Beaujolais Village as opposed to a Beaujolais Nouveau, which to me is almost always strawberry bubble gum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, wetwood.
Wetwood?
Wet wood.
Oh, I,
Yeah,
know,
like,
wetwood.
that happens when the rain falls on like cut lumber. That.
the television drama Westworld?
These violent delights have violent ends.
But it's grippy.
Yeah, it is more grippy. That's that, more serious Beaujolais. You can get a lot more structure.
What do you think, Charlie? Have you tasted it?
I have, yeah. The Beaujolais is delicious. It's great. It's fruit forward, but does have a little bit of some like earthiness in there too. There's even like a little bit of like a tomato character, a little bit of leafiness. It's got a little bit of everything going on with it.
Quite nice. Provisions, Northampton, in the rock and roll basement.
Every tasting I've been to down here has been pretty rock and roll, so
That's
I
true.
think that tracks.
Yeah, they're just rock and roll in general.
Rock and roll! Rock and roll! Let's get it!
Tasting 2 female-fronted wines as we gear up for Women's History Month.
It's interesting.
Ooh!
Almost a mintiness on the nose to the Bobal. So this is Ruth Imanez, and she actually visited Provisions this past fall. Past vintages of her Bobal have been a little bit more heavy and serious, and she sort of changed her style on this to make it a little bit more accessible and light and fresh and more of a springtime wine. I'm already thinking spring.
Oh yeah, we got to. It's the only thing that's going to get us through. We're almost through February. Like a whole another 15 weeks and we'll be through February.
If we drink springy wine, spring comes, right?
That's
right. The 980th day
of February.
February.
This is going to sound like I'm trashing this wine, but I actually really love the smell, and I haven't even wanted to take a sip of it yet. I love it so much. It smells like cilantro, and cilantro for people who can't eat cilantro because it smells or tastes like soap.
Yeah.
And also, when you are blowing up a new pool inflatable,
I like that new plasticky smell.
Yeah, but I kind of love that. It's like I'm going to put my floaties on. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to jump in the pool.
This tastes like Baga's heavier cousin.
Baga Fett.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
No. Baga's a Portuguese grape that's coming back. It's being encouraged to be grown. It's not like it went away. And it's got a lot of the same characteristics, like a little bit of that cranberry, a little bit of that like pliable bounciness, but it's definitely more serious than that.
This wine is kind of screws with your mind a little bit. It kind of feels light on the palate, looks light, but then it has this strange intensity to it.
Yeah. Super good tannins.
The tannins sneak up in the back of it.
Yeah. Which are, again, the sweaters on your tongue or whatever things that make it good with food. When you have wine, you feel it in your mouth, a little sticky, a little dry. Put some food in there and it really like cuts into those tannins and means you've got a wine that's great for food.
And helps you digest.
Does it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Look, we'll believe those facts.
Yeah, I'll believe those facts.
Give us a real one as opposed to all these other ones that people just keep making up and throwing out there.
Oh, I guess Charlie's vote is out.
Yeah, Charlie.
So maybe Charlie has to vote early.
You're supposed to vote.
You have to pick one, Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie from the band Noble Rot. You have to pick one of these two if you were to walk home within the wine Thunderdome. 2 wines enter, 1 wine leaves.
I'm going with the Bobal. It's got the fruit, but it also has some seriousness to it. There's like a mineral backbone to it. There's like a flintiness. There's almost like even like a little bit of gun smoke. It's fun.
Totally.
But it can hold its own in a serious setting.
All right. Charlie from Noble Rot going back to work upstairs at Provisions.
It is strangely serious.
Yeah. But like, not in a like, put your pants on, we gotta go sort of way.
It's a pants off seriousness. It's like a colonoscopy because it's serious, but your pants are still off. It's nothing like a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Although it
yeah,
will
no.
help your digestion, I hear.
well,
Oh my god.
It's been enough of my own personal digestive talk on the show this week.
Yeah, I know. This is the second time.
Has this been coming up a lot?
Anyway, all right. We heard a little bit about Mary Taylor and your visitation of that location. Anything more you want to tell us about the Bobal?
Manchuela. It's from the Manchuela region of Spain. She also is uber sustainable, I think certified organic, and very minimal intervention in her winemaking practice. Mm-hmm. It has that, I feel like it has that sort of like crunchy, wild, fresh character, but still very clean.
The thing that the Finca brought out for the Beaujolais was how much acid the Beaujolais still has that the Finca really doesn't.
Point.
Like I was getting a little bit of it towards the end of the taste, and then the Finca just made it really apparent that it's got like this neat spike of acid towards the end, which is really neat. It lightens the whole thing because like Beaujolais is also a pretty like hefty wine, not like Cabernet hefty.
Cru
but just,
Beaujolais and
like-
Beaujolais Village. Yeah, when the tobacco comes to it, it definitely can feel heftier like that.
And going back to the Beaujolais, I definitely get that like that plasticky, diesel-y thing.
Oh, see, I got that more on the Molar with the Bobal here, and I love it.
Yeah.
Again,
It just still smells like moss.
The Beaujolais?
No, the Bobal.
The Bobal.
and when I drink the Bobal, the Spanish one, it definitely turns more to like a potpourri type flavor on my tongue rather than like a cilantro thing.
Yeah, it's complex. I feel like there's a lot of layers to this.
Yeah.
Earthy, there's this sort of like plasticky, but in a good way.
Yeah. Again, I mean,
Very-
Riesling is one of my favorite wines, and the thing I love most about it is it smells like diesel.
One last ride.
The dry flower thing is a good call.
Potpourri. Probably have some of
fact,
those
it's not-
wines upstairs too, right? THC infused potpourris.
Oh God.
Not anymore.
Crack down on that loophole in the law.
Thanks, ABCC.
Ugh. I don't think pot should go in everything. Maybe there should be limits.
So what do you guys think?
Who else is ready to vote? Bruce?
Well, my palate is on vacation, apparently. I'm just not really tasting well today, I think. But
Which happens.
That's the COVID.
Oh, Let me take 6 feet of separation from you all of a sudden now, Bruce.
Taste anything.
I distinctly remember when COVID was just out in the, like when nobody knew what to do, and I was wine tasting for my radio show. I was like, "This is going to be our control. Can we smell and taste this wine?" And the second we can't, we have to stop and immediately quarantine.
I'm going to go Bobal. There's more going on other than just fruit and acidity.
Rock and Roll Charlie from Noble Rock and Bruce, 2 for the Bobal. Benson?
I have to say, I think the Bobal is just a little bit more exciting to my palate today. I'm really enjoying the Beaujolais. It's very easy to drink, especially after taking a sip of the Bobal, but I think Bobal.
The minute this started tasting like Baga, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this one. Because Baga has turned out to be one of my favorite grapes. I cannot stop buying that 100% Baga from Dynamic because it is just so... I opened a bottle of it at a friend's party the other day. It's like, oh yeah, I've had this cellaring in my basement for a while. I wonder if it's still awesome. And it was better. And this has so many of the same...
female winemaker.
Right? So many of the same characteristics. It's bouncy with just a little bit more structure, like a little bit more heft to it. So like if you want something that's not such a poundable porch drinker like the Baga is, because the Baga definitely is, this is great. Also, I have a board game named Finca, which is all about growing fruits in the Iberian Peninsula.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what they did.
Drink this wine while playing the board game?
I can.
Yeah.
I might.
Well, while the hope of spring lies on the horizon, it is still solidly the 107th week of February. And while the Beaujolais alludes to the promise of spring, it is still very cold outside. And this Bobal is a grape that I don't usually drink very much, and I'm always interested in trying new things that I don't know very well. Plus, putting on swimmies and jumping into a pool in my brain as I drink it, it's so multi-layered, it's unanimous.
We have a consensus.
We have more than consensus.
It's
We have
also fun to say.
unanimity.
Bobal.
Bobal.
Yeah.
Also, Finca El Molar sounds like, I'm going to get some dental work done. Yeah, this is my kind of root canal. It's ancient vine root canal.
I mean, that's about right for the field. Yeah.
You drink a bottle of this, and then you get your root canal.
Or
It
your
certainly-
colonoscopy.
Oh, God.
It's serious with your pants off.
We promised less gastrointestinal distress for the rest of the week.
I have my first colonoscopy coming up in 2025, so I'm eagerly anticipating it.
First ever?
First ever.
Good times.
It's important, people.
It is
Yeah,
important.
mine is on the horizon. They brought it up in my last
Check-up.
physical.
You're like, hey,
About time.
Just so you know,
how's your butt feeling?
you're getting that old.
TMI. I've had 2.
Oh, dear. Speaking of colonoscopies, we have a band that is old enough for the band to have its own colonoscopy. And Jim Armenti from the Lonesome Brothers, you are an aspirational wine snob. You were getting into all the wine terminology. That we want to come on one of these wine tastings with us?
Well, yeah, sure. I don't need to be right about it. I just need to be able to speak the way wine connoisseurs speak.
We can teach you.
It's
Well, no,
really
I don't
easy.
want to. I don't necessarily want to know the right stuff to say, but
Yeah,
it just
there-
needs to sound good. Like
There's no right stuff to
good.
say.
That's what I'm getting. See,
You
that's
just
what
need
I didn't
to
want
know
to
your
say
own
that.
palate.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to say that out loud.
No, it's real.
And
I
Ray-
say this all the time.
And Ray Mason, you don't want to come to the wine tasting. You gave up drinking a long time ago, even though
yeah. I mean, I used to be a fine connoisseur of wild Irish rose, belly high, pagan pink
Whiteboard. What
ripple.
about your whiteboard?
But you do have a song called "I Gave Up Giving Up Drinking," which I sing in my head quite
It's
frequently.
a very tongue-in-cheek song.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Well, we'll hear more from this dynamic duo who has been doing things for the last 40 years in the Valley. And maybe we'll even take Jim Armenti to Provisions with us next time we wine
I'm
taste
so
here.
for it.
Thanks to them. Coming up, Live Music Friday with the Lonesome Brothers.
Also, kudos to you for that ending song. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family-owned and operated complete exterior remodeling business offering windows, siding, gutters, and more. WindowWorldOfWesternMA.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. It's Live Music Friday, and with us are a band that is being honored with a birthday party by the Northampton Arts Council. It's the 40th anniversary of the Valley's legendary Western Mass rockers, the Lonesome Brothers.
Lonesome Brothers formed in 1985 and have been alt-country Americana favorites since before alt-country and Americana were coined. Ray Mason on bass, Jim Armenti on guitar, backed by former Blood Orange's drummer Keith Levereau. Ray and Jim share songwriting and vocal duties and have perfected a warm, comfortable, and often humorous style that weaves personal insights, experiences, and homespun characters and stories into the fabric of their music.
Lonesome Brothers appeared on Prairie Home Companion and at the 2007 Newport Folk Festival. They've opened shows for Carlene Carter, NRBQ, Steve Forbear, Billy Joe Shaver, Freddie Johnston, Laura Cantrell, Cry Cry Cry, Junior Brown, the Bottle Rockets. The list is so long. We don't have enough time. We want to hear them play.
And this Sunday sees a tribute to one of the Valley's most prolific bands, featuring an all-star cast of local musicians performing their songs in tribute, along with a set from the band themselves at the Iron Horse. It is sort of sold out. There's like a market online for trying to get some of these tickets. They're a rarity at this
They
point.
haven't updated the page to say that it's sold out yet, though.
Yes. So
Really?
you
Yeah,
may not
they haven't. So like
Wow,
maybe
I
game
didn't
the
know that.
system.
Right. You still may have
Just a little bit.
And if you don't get into the show, you'll get a little taste of the show in this band right now for Live Music Friday. We've got Jim Armenti and Ray Mason from the Lonesome Brothers. Let's hear a song before we chat some more.
Sounds good. Here we go.
2, 3, 4. When the ball has come unwound and lays a tangled map all over the ground, and the clock spins like a toy, and you know it's gonna fall just like the walls of Troy. When the doors are closed and the road's unpaved, tickets read the same for the doomed and the saved. Well, I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one to raise the setting sun. She might be the one. I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one. Deep winter morning shows no light on the handle of the door, frozen thick with ice, and the slowly turning key, it draws a weary moan, but sets that wagon free. Well, there's clouds on the road and ghosts in the air. The bridge is down, there's detours everywhere. But I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one to raise the setting sun. She might be the one. I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one. Now Hannah is her own small town. She's Sunday afternoon with a carnival sound. And she moves lightly through a day. She doesn't stop for rain. There's nothing in her way. But when the numbers say that it's all over, someone's crushed the very last four-leaf clover. Well, I still got a hand because I know her, and I call Hannah, and she'll know where to go to watch the melting snow. She'll know where to go. I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one to raise the setting sun. She might be the one. I call Hannah, 'cause she might be the one.
Yeah, The Lonesome Brothers celebrating 40 years as a band together. And from the Lonesome Brothers, we've got Jim Armenti and Ray Mason in the studio. Ray, you've been here a bunch of times already.
Yeah.
This is your third appearance.
I thought it was my 17th.
Feels like it, Ray.
No, I didn't.
In a good way.
Yes.
In a good way.
And
yeah.
Jim, this is your first time here on the Fabulous 413
Yes,
show.
it is.
But the Lonesome Brothers themselves played a show on the first floor of this building, in Studio
this very
A.
building.
How long ago was that?
We're trying to remember because we just ran into Marlo. We did a Cottony Act at the Huddle Warren in South Deerfield, and then we later did, I can only do it by the CDs. The one we did in the basement was from a CD called Ponytails, which was our fourth
album?
CD, and
Yeah,
we got
fourth
9,
album.
so...
The one with the
so it was a
horses
ways
and us on
back.
the cover.
I know that one, yeah. What
Yeah.
year? Do you remember what year that was? We can look it up on Bandcamp,
no,
I
not
think.
We can look it up on Bandcamp.
2004.
And the
3,
Marley you
something
mentioned is from our GBY television
Exactly.
side of things, and there was a great show that focused on local music that she was at the helm of and that you have been a part of,
Cottony
given
Act.
that
Cottony
you
Act,
have been part of the Valley music scene for 40 years.
That is old.
And what happens after 40 years is that you have a giant catalog, and in the studio with us is your songbook.
A literal catalog.
A literal catalog
They're gonna wanna
of
hear
your
it.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at
it
that.
is.
Way to go.
Whoa.
Listeners, I need you to understand that this book is an inch thick. Like, it is.
Yeah.
There's
That's-
a lot in there.
Yeah.
Is it every single Lonesome Brothers song transcribed with lyrics and chords
It's every
for people to play?
published song.
All
that-
9 albums.
Yeah,
Every song
all
from
9
all 9 albums. All the
There was one
chords
other
and lyrics.
song that we, that's somewhere else.
Oh.
It's on the first Valley Homegrown that Jim Olsen's
When
Signature
the
Sounds
first
put out.
Signature Sounds releases,
Yeah,
we had a song
put out
called
record
Valley
called-
Rock.
and we had the first cut on
Yeah.
that
Wow.
called Valley Rock.
So that's
We
the
wrote a
only
song,
missing
yeah.
song?
Well, I wouldn't call it missing. It's what do we call it? Well, it's like a mystery track.
Oh.
It's a mystery track. We didn't even say a bonus track because it's not on there. You can look for it for a long time.
Other than that, all the
Could
rest
spend
of them are
hours
there,
looking
including
for
the
it.
hidden track on the first CD. Is that in there?
There is a hidden track on the
Is
first
that in
CD.
here?
Wow, is it? There's a hidden track on the first CD after the last song ends, and it's a song I wrote called String of Failures, and it's live from the brewery in Northampton back
Right.
when they used to
Northampton Brewery.
have Sunday
There it is,
night
right
music.
there.
There it is.
It's even in there. Oh my God, it's even in there. How
So
does that
who
go
compiled
again?
the Lonesome Brothers songbook? Where did the idea to put together all of your songs come from?
I mean, it developed over many years as well. Scott Hall was the keyboard player
Hall,
and the drunk
keyboard player.
stuntman.
Yeah.
And they don't play anymore. He lives out up by Sturbridge and booked many shows out there and
Yeah, he
played
books us
some of
out
those
there
shows
every
with
summer.
us. So he's a keyboard player. So he would bring these 3x5 cards with chords, and they'd be half right or
Yeah.
2/3 right, something like that. And he'd grade them. So at the end of every song, he'd go C+. D minus, D minus on the solo. And then we go to the next one.
Yeah.
So then COVID came, and I think he just started getting a little more orderly about it. And then he started, toward the end of it, he was told us he was making this book, and we said, okay. And then he started emailing us these things.
Yeah, he
these
was putting
things,
that was a
and,
challenge putting that
so-
together
make
because
sure the words were all right. So we read. I'd sit there with my guitar and play through the whole thing.
Me too.
And they're
You had-
chord charts.
Yeah, you had
as
to go
opposed
back
the
and
style.
and try to remember what the lyrics were to the song you wrote and the chord changes.
And so then
that
he
were
and
correct
then-
because
and then-
he would.
It got to be a big project, and at the end of last summer, I had a poetry book published from Levelers, and so I knew Randy, and I said, "Listen, Randy, people are already saying, they should publish the song lyrics, which I don't really consider the same way." But then I said, "It's me and Ray. People want to see these lyrics," and I shopped it to them, and they went, "Oh yeah, we'll definitely make that."
And we did promise him that Jim and I would each buy one. So,
So two have already been sold.
That's like
Yeah,
pre-sold.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need it ourselves. People request a song, we open to page, whatever, and we go.
We're going to be needing it.
And we're speaking with Ray Mason and
We're not
Jim
getting
Armenti
younger.
from the Lonesome Brothers, who are celebrating 40 years as a band this weekend at the, we're believing, probably sold out Iron Horse on Sunday.
And it's featuring. It's not just y'all. Like, there are people from the community coming out to cover your songs.
So here's the thing. Ray and I have been making a joke about us being, because it's the age of tribute bands, a lot of tribute bands.
yes.
Yeah.
So we've always mostly, we do some covers sometimes, and we used to know hundreds and probably still do, but we make a joke that we're a cover band of the Lonesome Brothers. 'Cause those
We're a
guys-
tribute.
those
We're a
guys-
tribute to the Lonesome
band,
Brothers.
Tribute band, because they're too old to remember anything.
Because we also figured figured we'd maybe get more gigs if we were a tribute to ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's why you made the book, right?
That's
To,
right.
like,
So
tell
we can
people.
it's a franchise. We can hand these to people, and they do the right words and the right chords, unlike us, because we forget half the stuff. But the band at this thing, there will be a tribute band, which is Paul Kahansky on bass,
Great
and Jason
band,
Smith
Jason
on
Smith
drums,
and Bob Hennessy
and
on
Bob
guitar.
Hennessy, who was my guitar student in the, I think, late 80s, or early 90s.
And you know what the
The
surprise
student has
is?
become the master.
And,
We have no idea what songs of ours they're going to do.
or who's doing them, but
It's gonna be a
like
surprise.
6 or some other people are each going to come up and
Yeah.
do 2 songs, because what we always go back and forth. Ray sings one. I
We
sing
invented
one.
that, actually.
So
going
there,
back
yeah,
and forth.
that's our
Other
big
people
mark.
have seen other people do it, and they got it from us.
Yeah, Lennon
They got it
McCartney,
from us.
forget it.
Forget
But,
it.
but people think it's simple because Jim will do one, I'll do
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But then the next gig we do,
We reverse
I'll
it.
do one, and he'll
then
do
Jim
one.
That's what we call the
it's
other
much more
show.
complicated than it's.
Well, before we take a break, I mean, Khalees and I have been ensconced in the music scene here for decades, and that's still only half of your existence as a band. But how did you two meet to form the Lonesome Brothers back in 1985?
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard Jim play in a band, Yankee Rhythm Band, and you were looking for a bass player to fill on Tuesday nights in West Springfield. I remember that.
See, I have another story too, but it involves a pink
We don't
beret.
have the same
and
story?
Ray swears.
Well, that's what
no,
happens.
There was
Okay,
probably
I want to hear both versions of the story, so we know Ray's
And I remember
version.
they were really good, and I remember Jim's guitar playing was great, and he played really loud, and I really liked that.
Okay, so Jim, what's your story as to how you
my
met?
story was, so we had this band, the Yankee Rhythm Band. A guy named Don Belandrew passed away a year ago. Was the singer, and we had a rhythm section that lived up in Turner's and Miller's up that way, bass and drums. So we got a Tuesday night gig. There was a lot of house band gigs back then, the country western stuff, and this was a place across from the Big E called Billy T's. And Millie and Billy owned it. And it was a big place, and it got a lot of people in it. And on Tuesday night, they needed one Tuesday night band because they're closed Monday, and Lee Howell and the Mavericks played the other 5 days. And then they played at the Ranch House on Monday. I mean, it was a whole circuit for decades. Anyway, so they wanted the band on Tuesday, and our rhythm section wouldn't come down there. So my neighbor was Lorianne Fiorentino, and her boyfriend at the time was Ray. And she goes, "You got to go see." I think, or at least she knew
I went
she
to
was
see
a
you
bass
play in a
player, too.
parking lot behind Birds in Florence in the parking lot.
That's where we were playing. I remember that gig, by the way.
Well, that was the one. That's
yeah,
the
well,
gig, yeah.
but she goes, you got to go see Ray, and I go, and you were filling in with the sock hops. Now listen, I remember somebody
It was
there
at
with
Sheehan's, I think.
the Sheehan's in the basement. Yeah, I remember somebody had a pink beret, but you know who it probably was the keyboard player, that's Steve. What's
It
his
wasn't
name?
me. I'm
no,
not
it
a
wasn't
hat
Ray. He
guy.
never wears.
I've never owned a
He
beret in
won't
my
wear a
life.
hat, okay? But anyway, he's playing. He's
I've
playing
never owned.
bass.
I don't own hats. I
So he's playing
Men
bass,
without
and
hats.
I said, "Come on, you want to do this gig?" And Keith was playing in the Chills with you at the time, I think, or somebody. And Keith Levereau was.
Keith was a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to college at Westfield State. So the two of them were the Tuesday night rhythm section in that band for a year and a half till we got fired. And then the night we got, I had twins, and Millie was, when are those babies going to be born? And then they get born, and 3 weeks later she fires us.
Yeah, and
So-
they would, they would sit there at their table. I shouldn't say this about them. I don't know.
They're dead.
I'm not
They're
trying to be
gone.
mean or
They're
anything.
They're
It's
dead,
just
yeah,
the truth. When we were playing, they get donuts from the place right
Always
nearby.
got the
They'd have a
dozen
whole
donuts
box
would
of
come in.
donuts and eat donuts while we were playing, and they would never offer us not one.
Not even one donut.
We've never we could have even shared one, but we never got.
Sometimes they came in late because they went to the
I
highlight.
know, I'm not bitter about
in
that.
Hartford.
Yeah, sure, Ray.
They bet on the highlight.
Well, let's take a quick little break here. I could listen to
Do
you
we have
two tell
conflicting stories?
tell
I think they
stories
kinda-
like that.
they
No,
intertwine.
this is the beauty
It
of
is
the
beautiful.
moment.
We can just wind you up and let you go. We're talking with Jim Armenti and Ray
on,
Mason
we've been
of the
together
Lonesome
40
Brothers,
years.
who's celebrating 40 years as a band this weekend at
expect
the
us to
Iron
remember
Horse.
things?
They will come play another song for us at least after this.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Phrase it was that ruin any shot I had at knowing you.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, offering co-op advantage checking with cash back on all purchases, plus secure debit card controls, all from the UMass 5 mobile banking app. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Ski Sundown in nearby New Hartford, Connecticut, offering night skiing until 10 on 16 groomed and lighted trails. Ticket and rental information at skisundown.com. Winter made better.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We are with Jim Armenti and Ray Mason, two of the Lonesome Brothers, as they celebrate their 40th anniversary this weekend. Jim, you didn't even get to the end of the story how the name the Lonesome Brothers came after playing on Tuesday nights in Westfield.
We got fired.
Right.
And just a couple weeks later, Roger Saloom calls me up and he says, "You guys want to play a Tuesday night in Barry,
Tuesday night
Mass?"
gigs are just falling into our lap.
Yeah, right.
Barry Mass.
Who would think?
So it wasn't the band. It was just me and Ray. We said, well, can we do that? Yeah, sure, why not? And we just played that. We were like Bach two-part inventions because we didn't make up for the fact that there was no guitar strummer or drummer. We just played our regular parts the same way we always did, and we went to Barry, which was 55 miles from my house. So every Tuesday night for, again, about a year and a half. And on the way, Ray kind of thought of that name, but it was lonesome, like
Yeah, I figured we
and
liked the Everly Brothers growing up. I bought all their 45s,
Yeah.
starting in the late 50s, and then so there's the Brothers.
Got that
and
part.
then I was
Nailed
thinking of
that
Hank
down.
Williams Sr., like
Yeah,
Lonesome
yeah.
Highway.
Lonesome
Then you
Brothers.
had Lonesome Brothers. And so we used to go to play there originally, and we didn't have a name. Oh, here's those guys there that live, I know where, the West Hampton, Haydenville. Okay, but Northampton. Oh, I love it. See, when I tell a story, Jim plays those chords. I love
beautiful.
this.
It's good to
It's
have
beautiful.
travel with your own soundtrack.
I could just go on and on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're one night we came up with that on the way, and we got to the place, and we said, from now on, we are Lonesome Brothers. And from then on, they went, Lonesome Brothers are here.
They made us
And that
T-shirts.
was it.
Eddie
They
and
made
Vern
us
Lonesome.
T-shirts. I don't know where they got that from.
You
but-
even had fake lonesome names. I
Yes.
did not know that little
What
Jim.
do they call those?
That's
Stage
ridiculous.
names? There was no
Yeah,
stage.
stage
Stage
name.
names.
It's like
There were no
Monty
stage
Belmonte.
names, though,
Yeah.
so they were floor names.
Yeah. Well, let's hear from Eddie and Vern Lonesome, better known as Jim Armenti.
Oh, man.
and Ray Mason. Another song.
I think there could be a comeback. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. You can get it done, but you'd rather do it later. You've been putting me on like a tight pair of shoes. Jukebox dumber December, more the blues. Mumbling something about gotta pay the dues. I need it. You've been getting off on a bad set of clues. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. You can get it done, but you'd rather do it later. You've been putting me on like a tight pair of shoes. Jukebox number D7, born to lose. Mumbling something about gotta pay the dues. You've been getting off on a bad set of clues. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. Later won't help you now, you big procrastinator. You can get it done, but you'd rather do it later. You can get it done, but you'd rather do it later.
The Lonesome Brothers, this Live Music Friday on the Fabulous 413 with Ray Mason taking the lead on that one.
We don't just sing about it, we practice.
Yeah. I love the fact that Ray Mason songs are like practical life advice. And Jim's songs are like beautiful bits of poetry to help you through when you fail at the practical life advice.
You need both things.
Yeah, you need
it's
both things.
everything in equal measure.
It's always been right there.
Right
there.
And it's all in this new songbook.
I stumbled on that first verse. I needed that book.
I know,
right
I almost
there. That's
opened
just
it up.
Proof.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a shameless plug for it. I did.
Available through Levelers Press, the local press, the Lonesome Brothers Songbook.
Or if you happen to be one of the lucky few with tickets to the show, because
Yeah.
it's been confirmed that it's sold out now.
Right, yes.
You're going to have them at the show.
Signed copies.
There we go.
Ooh.
And we also, our intrepid engineer, Betsy, tells us that Ponytails was in 2002.
Whoa,
I was off by what? 4 years, 5, something like that.
Yeah, something like
2002.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
So
And
that
that's
was a
when you
while
were
ago.
recording in the Studio A here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like right when we got to the valley.
That's when we got to the valley. I think of you both as an amazing institution here. Of course, we've had Ray on a bunch of times, as I mentioned. But Jim, one of my favorite memories that I'll always hold with me about like working in downtown Northampton is, maybe wine tasting at State Street and then walking down the street before I'm about to go talk with Bill Dwight at Pleasant Street Video. And there's Jim Armenti on the side of the road playing, on the sidewalk, playing some instrument and just chatting with all the comers and
I love
goers.
it out there, yeah.
It's
I've been doing that for, 44 years. Well, that's because I teach downstairs in the downtown
For a long
sounds. I teach
time
down
now,
there,
yeah.
and when people don't come in the nice weather, there's a half-hour break. One of my students isn't there. I used to play clarinet up there and tenor sax for a while, but
Yeah.
Scheinman didn't like that. It was too loud.
Alan Scheinman, who owned that building
but
previously.
So it's mostly mandolin or ukulele or something like that. Yeah, and that's how I know all the street people. They come and chat it up and
Right, and then just any passersby.
Yep.
So many conversations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, I met a group of young people from Iran. From Iraq, and they were wandering, and they got little lanyards. And I asked, "Excuse me, where are you guys from?" And they said, "We're a State Department tour. This was last summer." And it just made me feel great. They were 17 years old, and they were going to different places in the United States. And they said one of them was going to Utah. I said, really? Ask them why they're screwing up the Great Salt Lake. And the other one was going to Florida. I said, don't go there, don't bother.
yeah.
But
right,
the State Department was paying for this. And I said, how do you feel about your country? And they said, really good. And that made me feel good because we wrecked the place.
Yeah.
Not that it was, whatever. But anyway, it made me feel good.
Well, it's been a delight having you both here. I'm so glad that you've made it these 40 years and that you will be celebrated with a sold-out show by the community in Northampton at the Iron Horse this Sunday.
I'm going to interject that Jim Armenti gave me one of the coolest compliments about my music ever, which I appreciate.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'll tell you.
We'll tell you
what.
off the air. Next week on the Fabulous 413, we'll look at local black
Leaving
history
people hanging there.
through a film about lesbians of color.
We'll discover more about the primary care shortage in the state with the newsroom's Karen Brown.
We'll get up on our skates as Pioneer Valley Roller Derby prepares to take on some new recruits.
We will learn about Reparations Day with the Power of History.
We'll get a peek at a new video rental place that's not Pleasant Street Video, but is around the corner coming to Northampton very soon, Vision Video.
And definitely inspired by that. And also, Shara Fragale joins us for live music Friday before you can see her at the Back Porch Festival very soon.
I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Khalees Smith. We will talk to you next week.
That was fun. What a great show.